Welcome back to Zero Gravity Live, the weightless weekly tech talk podcast, bringing all the latest discussions right to you. Hey, we're sponsored by Object First, who created Oopie, best storage for Veeam. That's why we got all the fancy logos and all that. So if you're ever in need of good storage, specifically for Veeam, because it only works on Veeam, you know where to go. If you are watching on YouTube, please make sure to ring the bell and subscribe, because if you don't, you'll never know when we're going live. And if you're listening to the podcast, thank you. And please leave us a nice review and be sure to share with your friends, because that's the way that the word gets out. I'm Anthony Cusimano, joined by my very good friend, Matt Price, and Sterling will be here in a moment. He's just having some web issues, as we all do in this day and age. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. It's exciting to be here. I know we skipped a week last week because we were in a riveting VMCE training, so now we're back at it. One other thing is be sure to drop in the chat if you're watching this live. Where are you watching from? Is it at your desk? Is it in a country? Whatever you're feeling, just drop in the chat. Where you're catching us live from. So should be a fun show today. We got some hot topics. What do you say we just go right into it, Anthony?
Let's do it, Matt. I am so down to clown. What do you have for us this week that we need to know about, fear, or have concern for?
Okay, so luckily no fear this time.
Thank God.
Not any Johnny Raincloud stuff pulling your reference out. So for those of you who have know me personally, I'm a big crypto guy. So I've always been into the cryptocurrency world for years now. Way back when Litecoin was first getting started. So this was 2014, 2015. Anyhow, fast forward to today. One of the projects that I've been involved in over the past, I'd say 3-ish years, is a project called Helium. And Helium is a little bit different because it's not cryptocurrency mining, with either graphics cards or ASICs, which are essentially a specific computing device only for mining cryptocurrency. So what Helium aimed to do is create what are called hotspots, very similar to what you might be thinking with a Wi-Fi hotspot. The difference is these hotspots are put in public and rural areas that can broadcast at the 915 megahertz band. So essentially,
Okay.
that means the signal can go way far. Like I've gotten some witnesses here in my house in Kennesaw, Georgia, coming all the way from the North Georgia mountains. So we're talking, 75 miles away. I can still pick up those signals. Now, you might be wondering, what the heck is this for, right? So the idea started with sensors and things that don't necessarily carry the smarts to connect to Wi-Fi, to have username and passwords, essentially where you might have something like a Raspberry Pi in the sensor. These are real
Right.
small sensors. It could be water, humidity, these types of things, but they needed the ability to phone home somehow. So basically, what they would do is communicate over this 915 megahertz band. One of these helium hotspots would pick up what it is that they're transmitting. And since the hotspot also has internet access, it would then route the signals to where it needed to go. So it was a pretty cool concept. And, that's where the project really got started. It was, again, 915, none of this 5G stuff. So that's a bit of the backstory on helium. Fast forward to today, though, and one of the things that I'm really excited about is they now have a mobile phone plan. All right, so check this
No
out.
way.
So they have evolved from the low 915 megahertz, and now there are these hotspots, which I actually have, and these are the 5G versions of the hotspot. 5G doesn't carry nearly as far, right?
Right.
And the Helium cell phone plan, no affiliate links. If you're happy with Verizon and all your carriers, that's great. I'm just excited about this because I've been a Helium subscriber for so long. And this cell phone plan rides on the T-Mobile backbone. So you may be thinking, the coverage, is it any good? Pretty much anywhere that T-Mobile has coverage, Helium also has coverage. It's $20 a month, unlimited. So that's a pretty good price. And it's there's no family plan. So it's just a, cell phone here, and you just add as many lines as you need. The really cool part about this, circling back to the crypto thing, is when you join this cell phone plan, they can, if you grant them access, clearly a toggle, you can choose to enroll or not. But if you allow them to ping your GPS periodically, they use that to map coverage areas. So let's say you go to a football stadium and they send out a ping to see if there's any helium hotspots, and there's none. That lets them update their map to say, look, we need somebody to put coverage there, which is
Right.
where these come in. So again, it's typical cell phone plan, but if you're using them to allow, them to use your phone for coverage mapping, they actually reward you in cryptocurrency, which is a token they have called mobile. And obviously it
That's
carries a
cool.
value, just like Bitcoin, obviously way less, but it still has a value. And the hope is one day down the road, things continue to go north. Now you've got, some mobile tokens built up. But if you don't care about crypto, you can actually use those to prepay your cell phone plan. So effectively, you can have free mobile coverage. And, to me, really cool concept. And where the hotspots come in, some of you that have like Xfinity and Comcast may have seen this before, where you're just out and about. You look down at your phone and randomly you're on some sort of Wi Fi network that you never actually connected to. And you look at it and it's Comcast Xfinity or Xfinity whatever. And these are public hotspots. Same idea with helium is anybody can go online and buy one of these, like a couple $100, plug it in somewhere with internet access. And anybody who happens to join your hotspot to aid in their coverage to give them faster access to the internet, you now get rewarded in those mobile tokens there as well. So it's kind of like all this works together and you're effectively building coverage for this network a hotspot at a time. So I just thought this was cool, because you think of the monopolies out there, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, all these big guys, and here this guy comes along that you're not really sacrificing on coverage because again, T-Mobile is the backbone, but it's this whole new way to think about cell phone coverage with cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. I thought it was really cool.
So this is super curious to me because a lot of people, I know a lot. Well, I don't know how many people. People react to crypto in different ways.
Yep.
Obviously, like there are diehard fans. There are people who dabble. There are people who think
Yep.
it's dumb or awful or terrible.
Yep.
The spectrum on crypto is wide.
You're right.
But I think this is actually pretty neat because one, the 900 hertz thing you mentioned at the beginning, it's 900 hertz, correct? That's what you
Yeah.
said.
915. Yeah.
915. That's cool to me because one, they're using bands that they exist and probably not being utilized to the most of the extent they could be.
Yeah.
Like one, they're leveraging technology that already exists. It's super wide range. I mean, the fact that you could get it so far away, that's impressive to me.
Yeah.
And you're totally right. Like we live in a world where competition is good. It breeds innovation. And to see this company shift from being just a crypto oriented type venture to now utilizing the technology they have to provide a service that could almost pay for itself if you're willing to do a little bit of work for it or allow your computer, your phone, whatever, to take part in the activity. That's cool. I see no flaws with this, which is always concerning because when I don't see the flaw, then I'm like, okay, there's got to be a really big flaw that's under the cover that I'm missing. But like this is just neat. I wish we could see more innovation that leans in the direction of favoring people versus the companies themselves. But I think this is cool.
I thought it was super. As soon as I saw him release it, I jumped on board like almost instantly because you're right about crypto. You've got the people that love it, the people that are a little skeptical about it, and the people that barely know what Bitcoin is. But the
Mm-hmm.
cool thing is, if you don't want to dabble in crypto, you don't have to. There's literally an option in the app that says prepay with your mobile tokens, and that's the last thing you have to worry about. There's
Right.
no exchanges, there's none of that mess you got to worry about. It's just all done right in the app, and you can prepay up to 3 months, based on these mobile tokens you accrue. And I'm like, I love some free cell phone service, so I was all about
Yeah. It's certainly one of the bills that I would love to reduce. I'm gonna have to check
it.
this out in the future. Even though like I'm not very crypto. I have a
Yeah,
little bit, but I'm not in it. So
Nor am
it's
I.
yeah, this is something that I think could actually motivate more knowledge and education into that for me
yeah,
and take advantage of it too.
Seems more tangible for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was my thing. It's an exciting way to kind of adapt that to something that we use every single day.
That is super cool. Welcome, Sterling. We
Thank you.
missed
Thank you.
you. in the first few minutes of the
I
show.
missed you guys too.
Yeah.
A couple technical difficulties always right at game time, but we're here, different camera, still just excited.
Yeah. Well, I do want to give some shout outs to our audience. We have two individuals who told us where they were watching from. One coming in from the Netherlands and the second from Pamplona, Spain. Thank you for joining us all the way across the globe.
Absolutely.
Here we are in, just boring old America, and our viewers are everywhere but. So
yeah.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks for watching, and thanks, Matt, for that cool little topic. Sterling, what do you got for us today?
Well, normally I like to bring us some awesome things from inside of my office, but today we're going in a little bit in a different route. This is not something I own, but something I was just kind of interestingly kind of came across. Let's talk a little bit about the quality of sleep and how technology is actually helping us find a little bit of a better sleep. Another sleep tracking device, another watch, another ring.
Another one.
No. That's not what we have today. Today, we're talking about an intelligent cooling and heating sleep system. Now, before you guys go off, I know right there. I already see Matt's on board. So this is going to be an easy sell for me today. I'm already revved up here now.
Sold.
So yeah, indeed. This seems to be at first glance, everyone listening, I'd still love to get your take on this about what your night of sleep is sort of worth to you here. This seems to be a very new take on a little bit of old tech. Anybody remember those water mattresses from back in the day? You filled them up with water. You either used a hose in your backyard, or maybe you hooked one up to your sink and waited the 2.5 days for it to fill, and then another day and a half for it to actually warm up enough with that little heating pad for you to sleep in it. Well, we have something a little bit different here today. This is something from 8 Sleep, 8 Sleep Pod, it's called, and this is the version 3 of it. Essentially, what it is, it's a mattress cover. Now, you can buy these in a couple different varieties, just the mattress cover or the mattress cover with the mattress, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But this one in particular on the screen now is the Pod 3, and it attaches to sort of a CPU-looking like box that sits beside your bed that houses, yep, you guessed it, water. So it has capillaries inside this pod that route the water through, that cool and heat. Heating is actually something aside from that old school water bed mattress heating pad. This is something we don't normally see in many of these units, mostly focus on cooling, not the heating side. So this has 2 zones, so you can heat it, you can cool. There's a zone for you, your partner, your pet, your dog, whatever. So you can heat and cool whomever needs that on the other side. It has an app for heating and cool control, no wearable needed, has sleep tracking, and offers guided sleep. And get this, everybody, it even has an alarm system, which will gradually turn up the temperature and even hit you with a few little vibrations on waking up as well. So, what is all of this the cost? The price of this good sleep? The sleep cover itself, just the sleep cover, bring your own mattress, starts at about $2,300. And using the mattress with it, their mattress coupled with that cover, $4,000. Everybody in the comments, speak up. I gotta hear it. And gentlemen, right here, what is your cost of a good night's sleep?
So I'm about to just blow all of your minds right now because recently I purchased a pillow. Actually, my wife purchased it. She did all the research. She's, of course, she knows everything. I just play along and try to act smart. But she found a pillow. It's actually based on old Japanese technology. My pillow, ladies and gentlemen, is full of buckwheat shells. And it is the best way to sleep, according to basically like old Japanese tradition. It is a pillow. It is full of shells of buckwheat, and it just conforms to my head. I sleep great. I don't need no $4,000 electronic app-induced cooling pad for my mattress. I just need a blanket and a pillow based on ancient technology, and I sleep fine. I start to wonder. We have so much sleep tech. And I think we're always trying to solve for the problem, which is we're addicted to apps and services. We constantly need mental stimulation. We've forgotten how to go to sleep good. And rather than do good practice of no TV in the bedroom, don't use your phone an hour before bed, avoid blue light, we have to go buy $4,000 mattress covers to cool down the bed rather than just turn up the AC, use a thinner sheet, and then you sleep on buckwheat shells. I'm telling y'all, we're finding complicated solutions to easy problems. Matt, what do you think?
That's hilarious. You had me at cooled cover. You lost me at 2Gs. I think when I go to hotel rooms, the very first thing I do is put that sucker on as low as it'll go, like 60, 65 degrees. I love to be cold when I'm sleeping, but not $2,000 worth cold. I'm with you. I just turn the AC down a little bit. If I get hot, take the comforter off, leave the sheet on, that type of stuff. I think the tech is cool, but Sterling, when you were giving your pitch about this thing, it took me back. You mentioned water beds. I was like, you're old when,
yes,
you had the bed. It was the queen. It was the giant inflatable tube full of water, and you'd get in, and you'd have to deal with this for like 5 minutes while the waves died down. And this is definitely an improvement since then. I just don't know how effective that would be to really change the game $2,000 worth, but I applaud them for the effort.
I could not agree more. I could not agree more. It's a bit steep for me.
Do y'all remember the commercials? The commercials, that's the thing. Do y'all remember commercials? Do y'all remember the commercials for the beds that would you could do different angles of sleep? So I'm asleep, but I'm going to read. So come on, y'all. Just sit up.
Yeah.
Sit. Don't do you need your bed to move you?
So easy killer, because I am sold on that. So while I'm not going to pay that for the crazy cooling level, I actually, when we moved into this house, we needed a new bed anyway, and we did get those because it wasn't that much money, and it's essentially a split king is what they call it. So it's a king size bed, but you basically have 2 separate platforms and 2 separate little mini mattresses that make up a king. That has been fantastic because they have what's called zero gravity mode. I'm not making it up. I can go get the remote and show you the little button. But the point is, it lifts your legs, and you kind of prop up together. So if you're trying to watch a movie, in bed, that, however, is worth its weight right there.
Interesting.
I got to do some research on this buckwheat shells that you're talking about.
I know.
That.
We totally just learned something here. So that's it, huh? So basically, save myself $2,200, get some buckwheat shells, call it a day.
It's great. You never been one of those really nice zero gravity beanbag kind of things?
Yeah.
It's like that for your head. No complaints. So good. It takes a night to get used to, and then once you do, you're like, I'll never go back to a fluffy pillow.
Not bad.
Listen, I know we're pressed for time because we've got another engagement I'll tell you about at the end, but let's move right along, shall we? Sterling, you got any news for us this week?
I sure do. And you know what? I'm going to practice a little brevity here, but this is just what the state of the state of the union is kind of looking at nowadays, you all. So, just to be kind of quick here, here we are. We're in the time of where with some new laws on the books where we have these businesses, they have to release information about when they were attacked, about what happened where the attack. And we're starting to glean a little bit of new information on what some of these companies are going through. So we've all heard about the Charge Healthcare. They got hacked back in February of this year. And after being attacked then and causing months of disruption after a massive data leak, it is also, of course, found out that they reportedly paid $22 million to a criminal gang. And is now known that the hackers used, get this, compromised credentials to remotely access a Change Healthcare Citrix portal. The worst part, you all, they did not use multi-factor authentication. So, just kind of wanted to bring this up and kind of kick that back out to you. We talk a whole lot on this show about needing to be secure, about thinking where your data is, a set of circumstances around your data. And really, we're at sort of a turning point where these companies really can't keep it quiet when they've been attacked, how they've been attacked, and of course, what ransoms they're paid. So I really think we're going to start to see more and more of these things coming up. Now, on our side of the fence, we always talk about zero trust, right? We
Mhm.
always talk about the segmentation of those permissions between the backup data movers and where you actually store your data. And of course, things like multi-factor authentication, 4 eyes that Veeam has, which makes sure you have a couple of different sets of eyes before you make any drastic changes. These things are really not only becoming de rigueur, these things are actually becoming to the point where they're so necessary, you're going to get dinged if you don't have them. Gentlemen, what do you think?
You know what? I'll go ahead, Matt.
I was just going to say, I was going to be brief on this one. It's MFA should be table stakes. Like,
Mhm.
you got to have at least that. And it's like, I'm immediately taken back to, I think the tech topic you did, Anthony, maybe a month or so ago about the millions of dollars that was stolen by somebody faking the visual, like being on cam, but not being themselves. Like, come on now. If they're able to do that and you don't even enable MFA, this is why we say it's not if you get hit, it's when. So I mean, these are prime examples. Sadly, so MFA should be a default setting.
I completely agree. I would the point I will make, I'll actually make during my topic because I think it pairs so well with this. I know we're going to save that one for the end. So let's hit Matt's, and then you'll
Yep.
see why this all links together.
So zero gravity launching into orbit. I thought this was super cool. So I came across this article, and here I am. I've driven a Tesla. I've owned a Tesla. I'm generally, I like SpaceX. I like all this stuff, that Elon's doing with space exploration because I think that's huge. And then I come across this article from a startup that's getting ready to launch sun-powered engines in space, and I'm kind of like, so why is a startup doing this and Elon hasn't thought of this with all his Raptor engines to blast this thing up into orbit that still hasn't been a true success from start to finish yet, right? With the new spaceship he's working on. So just briefly, I just thought any of these concepts that takes me back to my childhood watching Star Trek, I'm an immediate sucker for. Like this to me seems so obvious. You get up into space where there's no friction. You've seen all the movies where they harness the sun's power. Why hasn't anybody done it yet? And here's this startup that is actually about to release. They're literally talking about testing this as soon as next year. So
Wow.
this isn't one of these like concept ideas that's 10 years down the road where they'll probably go bankrupt before then. I mean, these guys say that as soon as next year, they're actually going to be able to launch something to test this tech out. And to me, I was like, now this is really cool. I mean, like
Solar
right here,
thermal propulsion, like that.
look at this,
Yeah.
3 million from the DoD and Space Force. Like, really?
I can see it.
I mean,
I could absolutely see it. I mean, this beats the heck out of nuclear, right?
Yeah.
They can find new ways to sort of power, and obviously the solar would seem to be a heck of a lot safer than all those things. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I could see it.
Yeah. Again, I think super cool tech, and I think that's something that has potential here as well, not necessarily just in space. So we'll see what this leads.
How far is this off? Is this something where they have a working prototype, or is this sort of like they've just powered like an RC car with the fire?
I mean, I'm trying to find it in the article real quick, but I mean, they literally call out that they're going to be ready to test this as early as next year, is what it says.
Oh, wow. Well, that's impressive.
So that's what I said.
Do you think that this could change or alter some of the trajectory of sustainable vehicle movement? Maybe go from electric to other types of things.
I mean, from what I've seen, and this stuff, this is what really just gets me excited about the future more than anything else is energy.
Yeah.
Because there's just been two major problems from how I've understood it in the last few years of development. Is one, batteries just suck. There are no good batteries out there today, but we're close. We're like on the cusp of being able to use like carbon as a battery source and just kind of like build carbon frames for things and store energy in the frame itself, which just means, big sterling. Then we can really lighten the load of things, which means you just get more bang for your buck. And the second is gathering that energy from like solar panels.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of growth in the solar market, but it's still we're not getting the energy yield that we should, right? Like I mean, you're outside in Florida and you feel that heat on you, you're like, this is a lot of heat. This is a lot of energy. If we could really capture that, and I'm sure these folks, the reason they're so confident is the technology has been so close. It's been on the cusp for years now.
Yep.
They've probably got some secret sauce. They figured out that missing piece. And I'm super excited to see where this goes, because this could absolutely change everything from a technology perspective if they've figured out a better way to harness the power of the sun and to make it work. So I am excited.
I agree.
There it is right there. I knew it was in here. The technology known as solar thermal propulsion could be put to its first in-space test as early as next year.
The Solar Sailor. I forget what movie that was from. Yeah, that was like there was a movie where they had the ship that had the big old solar sail. That was
exciting times.
Someone in the chat will say, and then I'll be like, yeah, duh, that's it.
Off to you, Anthony.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I've got bad news. This is why I wanted to save my comments from Sterling's. Sterling gave us the effect, but let me give you the cause. So this comes from Bleeping Computer, a great just security and technology journalist outpost. U.S. post office phishing sites gets as much traffic as the real one, and this article is great. I highly recommend you go read it because it's just the state of the world right now. Like it suggests, USPS phishing is at an all-time high, so much so that, as you'll see in the data here, it is neck and neck with the actual post office. And this has just started basically in the 2023 holiday season. These fake hosts have started sending out phishing SMSs and emails about deliveries of packages, tracking on packages, buying stamps. So they're sending out fake stamp emails, and people are buying them because, post office culture is a thing. People love to buy those special retro stamps or holiday themed stamps because mail is still huge. This is a fake campaign right here you're looking at. Like, this is not real. They just copied everything to a T, and people are falling for it. So they put up all the domains which are being queried, many surpassing 150,000 queries each, which is just wild. But let me scroll down to the bottom here. So here it is. Here's the part you all signed up for. In the blue on the left, 51.15% of 1,181,235 queries. That's real. And then right there, neck and neck, 1,128,000 totally fake. So this is huge. This is exactly how these breaches and leaks happen, right? Like it falls to everyone, us, the individuals, to ensure that when we go to places, when we get those texts, when we get those emails, go to websites, we're in a legitimate and correct place. Because going into this red zone is how you get to Sterling's nightmare scenario. An employee of a company goes to the wrong place, gets a keylogger on their computer, gets some kind of malicious file, and suddenly we've infected an entire company. It's cause and effect. And this is it right here. Like, this is how you get there. It's unfortunate that the numbers are so high, but that is the world we live in. So, my thought on all of this is that we have to be better. We have to educate ourselves. We have to do due diligence of really knowing where we're going whenever we're browsing or interacting with the internet. But I'm curious what y'all's thoughts are.
I just wonder if that's what's taking so long to get my mail.
Well, they're combating these absolute depraved individuals who are just taking advantage of every system they can. I can't imagine that's helping.
I feel like the USPS has been in the public news eye in the negative, sadly, way too frequently here lately. And I kind of joke about it, but it's not really funny because they are, like, here in Atlanta and the suburbs of Atlanta, but I've seen this everywhere across the country. It's like mail has been taking exponentially longer to reach its destination. You have mail getting lost. And I understand these may be two totally separate areas of the USPS system, but I bet you somewhere behind the scenes they're connected with routing and information and addresses and destinations and things that could get misconstrued with the wrong person, behind the scenes pulling levers. So, again, I think that goes to show you how fragile some of this stuff is and why security is so critical.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. When we think about For the biggest part, I'm going to make some assumptions here, everybody. So, but for the most part, the people that use a lot of the post office, people that mail a lot of these things, they tend to be of the generation or of the people that aren't as tech savvy. Meaning, I'm tech savvy. I still mail stuff. That's not my point. But my father, other older people in my family, they mail everything and they deal with all of this types of stuff. And also, Matt, to your point, I think back when COVID happened, we realized a sort of a change in how all of these types of things happened, which sent these people that I'm talking about even more searching for other alternatives. And I think that's what made this sort of rife with all of these issues that we're having today. Yeah. Anthony, I just really think that this really drives your point home that you so eloquently do every week of why security is so important in our lives and really what we need to do. I mean, we have to be vigilant in watching what we do with our information and making sure we understand what we're clicking on, number one.
Yep. That is exactly it. You know, we talk a lot about zero trust. I'll put the link. We put it up every week because our whole theme for this last month's been about security. But when it comes to ensuring your data and specifically your backup data stay secure, embodying and understanding the principles of zero trust and zero trust data resilience are supremely important. So if you do work in tech and you need a little bit of additional education on an easy way to ensure that your data stays safe, scan that QR code and be sure to check it out. This has been a little, we have rushed through our content today, and that's actually because I'm going to go do a webinar following this. It's back-to-back webinar action. So I'm just going to share this with y'all. If you're interested in learning on becoming not just zero trust, but ensuring that your backup data stays immutable the entirety of its life while it is backed up, be sure to tune in. I'm going to be talking through zero trust, object first, OOTP, and doing a demo with Solution Spotlight. It's going to be a good time. It's an hour of me. So if you enjoy me, you get a whole hour of it. If you don't, well, just scan the QR code and help us out anyway. Speaking of events, we also have an event coming up, which is VeeamON 24. Super exciting if you're in the data management and backup space. If you want to win a free pass to VeeamON, scan this QR code right now, and you will figure out you will find a way to get into our raffle program so you can attend this awesome event. The three of us will be there, and we're going to be doing zero gravities at the event. So you could always come say hi to us, maybe work your way onto the show if you're cool enough, and always take advantage of that free ticket.
Absolutely.
Sterling, Matt, as always, thanks for joining us and bringing those great topics. It's been a quick one, so we'll just close it out here. So thank you always for watching and joining us. As always, this show is brought to you by Object First and OOTP. It stands for out of the box immutability, and it is the best storage for Veeam. Y'all stay weightless, stay frictionless, and stay zero gravity. We'll see you next week.